Good morning. Let's get your Seint makeup set up and your step-by-step of how to put it on so we can get you rocking and rolling. You'll have your little tins and you just push up and kind of slide, and they just slide out. And then you'll pop them into your tin. They're magnetic, so you can pop them in and out. I do recommend that you save the lids. You can use them to pop them up. Okay, you also have the buff brush, the blush and bronzer brush, the perfector sponge, the setting spray, which can also be used as a primer, and the brush cleaner. And you have the cleaning towel, which I'm going to pop right into the palette. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to start with a clean, dry face, and I start with a toner. You can use rose water, you can use our toner, you can use any toner you have, but over time it helps make your pores smaller, kind of gives you a more even skin tone. It'll help with sunburn, acne, blemishes, all kinds of stuff. It's just a really great skincare regimen to get in. I also put on a moisturizer with SPF. I've been using the CeraVe. When you use SPF, it can sometimes tend to be a little greasy. That's just kind of the properties of the SPF. So I always recommend a primer, and we recommend about 15 minutes in between putting your primer on and putting your makeup on. I don't usually have that kind of time, so I've been kind of double priming to kind of bypass the waiting. So I added this Tula primer. You can get it at Ulta. I bought it off Amazon just so it would come straight to me. Another real good one is the Wet n Wild primer, and you can get that at Target or just about anywhere, and that's a really good one to use. But that primer kind of helps put a barrier between the SPF and your makeup, and it'll help your makeup stay on. It'll keep it in place all day. Any primer you use, if it's not one of those, just make sure that it does not have silicone in it. If it does have silicone in it, this makeup will just slide off. The cream makeup doesn't like to stick to silicone, so just be kind of aware of your ingredients. Second kind of primer I do is our setting spray. That's a 2-in-1. So I'm just gonna squirt, and I'm just gonna give it a second to kind of set. All right, grab your palette. I'm going to use the colors I use, and then we'll just have you insert the colors you use, okay? So you're gonna get a brush. I do like our brushes. They are double-ended, so it's kind of getting a 2-for-1. Well, it is getting a 2-for-1. We're gonna start with your brightening highlight, and that would be your lightest color, so Moonlit. And we're just gonna kind of pat that brush in there. I'm taking the small end of the brush, not dragging, just kind of patting. And we're gonna just start applying. We're gonna do a check there. We're gonna do a check on that side. And then we're gonna do kind of a tulip shape. And we're gonna come down your nose. Okay, and then we're just gonna kind of loop it all together. Okay, so you kind of have a face mask on. All that concentration is right there in the middle of your face. I'm gonna take what's left on my brush and just kind of dab it on to my eyelids. Next, we're gonna go in with your main shade, okay? My main shade I'm using is Candlelit. Your main shade is White Peach. So we're gonna dab our brush into that main shade, and we're gonna do another little check. So we're gonna go next to that brightener, and we're gonna check up our face. Next to that brightener, and check up our face. Do it on either sides of our chin. We're just gonna do a little bit on our forehead. We're not layering colors on top of anybody. We're just doing them side by side. I'll do it down my nose because we want everything to be in one layer, okay? I'm gonna dab what's left on my eyelids, and then I'm also gonna pull what's left down my neck. So next is gonna be our contour color. I'm using henna. Your contour color is henna. So we're gonna take our brush, you're gonna find your cheekbone, and you're just gonna come about halfway down. You kind of wanna stop like at the corner of your eye, okay? go along our hairline. And then we're also gonna go on our jawline. And we're gonna take what's left, same thing, and just pull it down our neck. I'm gonna switch over to the bigger end of the buff brush, and I'm gonna start blending together. So instead of doing circular motions, I'm just gonna kind of pat it in. You're literally kind of like patting it into your skin. So I kind of start in the middle of my face and work out. So I'm just gonna kind of pat it in. It is cream, so it's gonna move a little bit how you want it. And I always kind of pat it up and out, up and out, up and out. So it gives the illusion that everything's pulled up versus pulled down. You don't want to ever pull any looks down. Less is more. These tins should last you about 6 months. So if you notice that you're getting to the bottom of your tins too quickly, it's just a sign that you're probably using a little bit too much. So just kind of be a little lighter handed. And it just takes a little bit of time to get used to how much you need. But I do say start with less, and then you can always go back and add more, okay, if you need it. Be real gentle with that skin under your eyes. Next, we're gonna go with our lip and cheek, and I'm gonna use nude. You're gonna use nude. I'm gonna take my finger, and I am just gonna pat it on my cheek. And I'm gonna take a little bit of that and put it on my lips also. I usually end up combining colors on my lips. That's usually kind of why I recommend 2 lip colors. One is kind of a matte, and then I usually put a glossy on top. I'm gonna take that fluffy end of our buff brush again, the bigger end, and I'm just gonna kind of pat that blush color in. We're gonna take the Bella bronzer, and I will use the blush and bronzer brush. You can technically use any of the brushes for any kind of application. I like the buff brush because it gives a fuller coverage. The blush and bronzer brush is going to give a lighter coverage, but I do like to use it for the Bella bronzer. I prefer more of a full coverage. That's why I use the buff brush in the first part, but you can use them any way you want to, and it's just kind of trial and error and see what works best for you. So I'm gonna take the smaller end and kind of dab it into the Bella bronzer. And technically you're kind of making an E or a C, whichever way you're looking at me. So we're just gonna kind of dab it on. And it's right there at the base of that blush, kind of where you wanna stop. Dab it around. And this is just gonna kind of give you that summer glow, kind of warm you up a little bit, okay? So I'm just gonna flip it over and start blending it together. I also like to use our setting spray with the perfector sponge. I squirt the sponge all over. You never want to use it dry. You always want to use it damp, but not soaking wet. I kind of squeeze it out, and then I just kind of pat it all over. And it has 2 uses. It'll pick up any extra makeup if I might have gotten a little heavy-handed, and it's applying the setting spray. And that is it, my friend. You have done a complete face, and if you have any questions, let me know. I am more than happy to help you, and I'm so excited for you to jump into the world of Seint.